Hi-ho, boys and girls. Today what we're going to be doing is going over something very exciting. That's called if statements. Now, if statements, they are a method and they're most fundamental to controlling the flow of programming. So this is basically going to decide whether or not some code gets activated or not. And there are two types of if statements. The first if statement is the single line if statement. And the thing about them is that they only have one line of code for the entire if statement and whatever the action of the code is. And the syntax for this is you have a if statement here as the keyword, if, some condition which has a true or false value, then keyword, and then finally what your code is, whether or not it's going to be true. Now this differs from the multiple line if statements. And this gives the possibility of having more than one line of code that is activated after a condition is given as true. And this is the basic syntax in writing this here. Now, the if statement here, same keyword, same condition, but the one thing that's different is that instead of the code being right here, where the code is if it's true value being activated, you're putting it beneath it, and then you are finally wrapping it with an end if statement. So we're going to go through this example real quick. I've already typed it up in VBA, so we'll just show you how this actually ends up working out in practice. So going to the VBA window, you can see in this module here we have our two examples, the single line and the multiple line examples. Now there are many types of conditions that we can give, but I'm just going to have the bare bones minimum and say that something is going to be true. So we dimmed a condition as a Boolean value. Again, that's a true or false value. And we're stepping through here. You can see that the default from the locals window, the condition is given false, but as soon as we bypass this line of code while we're stepping through, you can see it now as true. So now that this condition says true, it moves over to the message box here, which is the line of code that we're activating, and we have it activated our if statement. Now, if we actually change this value to false here, you can see that when we step through our line of code, that the condition here, now being false, doesn't move over to the message box and skips it altogether. Now looking at multiple line if statements, we're going through here, we're going to start with the same condition, and you can see that it drops into this area here. And now it says that it activated the if statement and that we also can have multiple lines. Finally ending the if statement and showing you what it looks like if it's false. Stepping through it again, hits the condition, sees it's false, completely skips these two lines of code altogether.